Have you ever felt one day you wake up with a vague heaviness, a feeling of emptiness creeping in, but you don't know when it started? Everything around you seems normal, work, relationships, small talk. But deep down you know something is slowly going out, like a candle about to go out. People call it depression. But what if I told you, maybe you're not falling apart, but you're embarking on a much deeper journey? A journey into yourself, where you'll find yourself in the darkness. Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychologist, also fell into that state. Not for a few weeks, but for 6 years. He did not call it a breakdown or a collapse. He called it a descent into the self, a journey deep into oneself, touching the dark corners that few people dare to look at. During those years, he recorded it all: images, dreams, conversations with the dark and unconscious parts of himself. The result is a strange and mysterious book, the Red Book. It's full of symbols, crazy things, and truths that people often avoid. And Jung leaves us with a message. You are not depressed, you are awakening. Think about it. What if what you're going through isn't the end, but a summons from the deepest part of you calling you back? Have you ever been in this situation? Everything around you is going on as usual. You still work, still smile, still reply to messages, but inside you feel strangely empty. Everything becomes meaningless. You no longer care about the things that used to make you happy, and even no longer have the motivation to try. Others will think you are broken, depressed. But Carl Jung has a different perspective. He believes that it is not a collapse, but a summoning from within. That is when your soul withdraws from the fake life, abandons the person you have played for many years. Jung believed that to truly heal and find ourselves, we must have the courage to step into that chaos, to face our deepest, darkest corners, not to escape, but to be transformed. The Red Book is the map he left for those who dare to face themselves. The book not only records crazy images, but also describes each step of a person facing and accepting the unconscious self inside. Do you dare to listen to that call? If your life were a house, depression would be like walking down into your basement, a place so dark, cold, and quiet that you can hear the whispers you've always tried to ignore. In life, we often have to wear masks, play roles according to society's expectations. But at some point, when you are exhausted with that role, your soul is forced to turn back to face yourself. And that basement is where you begin to hear your true voice, the person you forgot while trying to survive. Carl Jung in the Red Book, recording the images he encountered on that journey. They are not meaningless hallucinations, but powerful inner symbols. Flyman, the intellectual teacher that everyone longs for when they are lost. The Red One, the embodiment of desires and instincts that we once buried out of fear or pressure. Have you ever wondered, if you went down to that basement, who would you meet? Many people think of depression as an absence of joy. But in truth, it's more like a painful truth trying to infiltrate your life, tearing apart all the falsehoods you cling to in order to survive. That's when you realize that some friendships are just forced friendships. The goals you've been pursuing have never been your true dreams, but rather social expectations. And the social roles you play every day, the good daughter, the model employee, the fun friend, all leave you exhausted. Carl Jung called this moment psychological death. You lose motivation, you lose direction, you even feel like you're losing yourself. But don't be afraid. This chaos is necessary. It's like a forest burning down to make way for new growth. Only when the old self dies can a new self be born. If you're lost, tired, feeling like you're falling apart, maybe it's not the end. It's the beginning of the most authentic version of you. You know, there are some strange signs that few people notice, but they are signs that you are awakening. Not the awakening that comes from reading a good book or watching an inspirational video, but the real awakening when your soul starts to refuse to live in its own fake cage. You will see relationships that were once close suddenly fall apart. No arguments, no one leaves, but an invisible distance grows, because you and they are no longer the same person. You will find yourself mourning the old version of yourself. The roles that once helped you survive are now burdens. Unstable emotions. Happy, sad, angry, empty suddenly, without any rules. Strangest of all, you are no longer interested in other people's recognition. One day you become a mirror. Your honesty makes those who live pretending look at themselves, and sometimes they hate you just because you dare to live truthfully. If you're experiencing these things, don't be afraid. You're probably not lost. You've just found yourself. You know, awakening is not a path of roses. In fact, it is a journey that you have to pay, and that price is loneliness. When you start to see through the lies, you realize that many relationships only exist because you played a role to fit them. When you let go of that role, you lose them. Not because you were wrong, but because the truth is always uncomfortable. You will be lost in that in-between space, no longer who you were and not yet who you will become. That space is both terrifying and full of promise. But in return, you get what people seek all their lives: truth, clarity, freedom. You know who you really are, and you no longer have to pretend to be someone else. Every day that passes, you live closer to yourself, something that money or status cannot buy. If you're at that stage, remember, loneliness is the temporary price of a real life. So how do we get out of that loop? How do we move forward without getting stuck in the old definition? A few things I want to remind you of, from those who have walked through the darkness. Let go of the need to be understood. No one understands anyone, and you don't need that to be yourself. Accept that you are not the same person. This hurts, but it also allows you to rewrite your story. Create small rituals of silence, a phone-free morning, 5 minutes before bed to breathe and listen to yourself. That's how you reconnect with yourself, rewrite the rules of the game. What was once true may not be true now. And finally, don't see depression as a sentence. It's a signal, a summons for you to go deep inside and find your whole self again. You are not depressed, you are awakening. This process can be painful, disorienting, and sometimes make you want to run away. But stop, don't run. This pain is not to break you, but to set you free. The truth is uncomfortable, but it has the power to free you from the shell of falsehood. Have you ever thought that those vague, unbalanced feelings could be a sign of a deeper transformation? It is a narrow path that leads you out of the maze of lies, back to yourself, more real and whole than ever. Believe that every step through pain is a step closer to freedom. When you touch the truth, however uncomfortable, you will be able to be true to yourself, true awakening. You are not depressed, you are awakened. Carl Jung said, "You do not become awakened by running away from the darkness, but by entering it and making friends with it." Vulnerability is the source of strength and courage, Brené Brown emphasizes. Think about the times when you feel lonely or lost. These are not failures, but signs of transformation. There is no rebirth without death, Nietzsche once said. The death of the old self opens up space for a more authentic, empowered version of yourself. If you are on that journey, I invite you to do something simple but powerful. Stop, take a deep breath, and allow your emotions to fully flow. Journaling, meditating, sharing with a trusted friend. These small actions will help you move further along the path of awakening. If you find the content useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos that help you understand yourself and your inner world better. You are not alone, and together we can find the light in the darkness.